I have started the recording.
Alright. Me sleepy. That's right.
You don't have to. So normally we don't have somebody who submitted multiple stories have all of their stories first. So like particularly, obviously, this happens with Ava all the time. We put one story that Ava wants read in a row, and then
Okay.
if we have time at the end, we can do more
Yeah.
of Ava's stories. So,
Yes.
um,
Let's get.
I think Ava wants the newer stories read, like Demon Queen. And so the other two
Yeah.
should probably just be at the bottom in the if we have time section. Here, I'll actually organize it like that.
Yeah. We want to like.
I'll do my usual format.
Yeah.
Dice will be here. That's crazy.
Yeah. Dice has to leave quite soon, so they asked their story to be read first, and they'll be narrating it. So they'll be starting us off.
Oh yeah, that was another thing. Is the desire to we need to start having because I'd forgotten about that. I had started doing this. Just have chapter stories
Yeah.
that are um in progress and
Yeah, and that's
news stories not read, like alternating.
yeah. Well, think about like the YouTube video. What I tried doing is I tried having the one shots or news stories up first, in the first half, and then the second half should be more continuations.
Yeah,
If that doesn't work out, though, we can obviously change it.
I think that's good though. Um, yeah, I swear a while ago I started doing that and I just forgot about it. uh,
Yeah.
uh,
Hello, Dice Cat.
has A Journey's Bonds been read here before? I don't think it
I
has.
I thought at least like the first few chapters has, but if it's not, then we can put them in their new section. Let me look it up. See if we have read that.
Might we will, as long as there's somebody to narrate it.
Would be good to ping Scaladurge about it if we are though.
Yasmin.
Yeah. Oops. Right. To see if we try to see evidence we've read it before or not. It looks like we might not have. Or if we did, I don't see a media record of it.
Here we go.
Oh, okay, see, yeah, that's the classic chat format. Alright. Oh, hello, Venti.
Oh, hi, Venti. It looks like the OBS is still picking up stuff that's happening when I'm not
And,
clicked on it.
and we have all like audio and stuff.
Yeah, we have audio.
So just because last week, Ava was recording for that one, and she forgot to capture audio for like the first like stories we read, and that was just like really annoying. I reread, but just want
Oh,
to avoid that.
yeah. Rowlet, not like this.
I like that.
Neuro-zip.
That's always funny because there's like a city in my area that it's like pronounced Rowlett, and it's
Doxed.
just like a very like yeah. I mean, I've doxed myself so many times. It's a very like bougie city. It's like very like it's like the rich suburbs.
Why do you keep posting Sniffa?
Uh,
I don't think he's in the call to reply to that.
Oh.
yeah, yeah, Scuzz. Oh, I guess because Scuzz always interested in Pokemon. Like where Pokemon's mentioned, he's like
But like,
on
what does it have to do with whatever? You know what? I don't care.
it.
Okay. Now I clicked onto OBS and the Sniffa GIF is no longer playing. That
Oh.
sounds like being clicked off a window and it not.
Capturing.
Wait, can somebody else say something in text chat, please?
No, I think that's just native Discord.
Oh yeah.
functionality.
Okay. Good.
Yeah.
Someone. It is still showing up. Text still showing. Okay. That
I mean, there's
is
something in the setting. Maybe change it so it doesn't unload.
okay.
I think that one might be for emotes more so than GIFs.
'Cause that is annoying. But before, basically, like this whole screen share would just freeze, or it would just go black if I clicked off, which meant I couldn't actually use my computer for anything during read-alongs. I had to just leave it there. Uh, Domi tried to help me fix that, and when he did, it was just already working. So I don't know what happened, but it seems to be fine now. So that's cool.
Fusion Discord. I still sleep there. No worries, Venti. If it's like pretty late, don't stress about it. Were we showing your OBS chat?
Oh, my mic was muted.
Sorry, yeah, we couldn't hear.
Oh, I was saying no. I've been waiting for you to start. I was like, aren't we starting? Like, isn't that doesn't Dice Cat have to go soon? Why are we not starting?
Yeah, that's
My
fine.
microphone was muted.
All right, well, Dice Cat, I understand time is a little bit limited, so you want to start us off? By all means.
Sure. I'll share my screen. Can you guys see the screen?
I can
Yes.
see the screen, and it is
Alright.
indeed okay.
All right. Yeah, it's a bit odd how many picks end up having "okay" in the title.
Evil
this
say
was the,
okay.
this was the this was the holiday prompt I received. I forget. I still don't know who gave the prompt, but yeah, they gave 2 prompts: trapped in freedom. So I went with a bit of a metaphorical approach. This is, yeah, for those who have read, evil's not okay. This should hopefully be a slightly more positive fic than that. So yeah, this is evil, if that's okay. And the summary is: evil goes to therapy. That's it. That's the fic. Evil's eyes wandered about the room. Various posters and motivational texts littered the walls, while pastel colors made everything blend together. An open window let in a gentle breeze and the early afternoon sun. Eventually, her eyes settled on the analog clock above the door. It ticked softly, unerringly, a reminder that time was indeed passing. Slowly. Tick. While I'm happy to sit here in silence again, Jessica trailed off as Evil's head snapped to her. The tender-gazed, chestnut-blonde therapist remained as impassive as ever. She sat comfortably in her chair, pen and booklet unused on her lap. Tick. Waiting. I'd hoped we could make some progress before we reached the end of our sessions. Evil frowned before leaning back into the couch. She'd already counted the ceiling tiles the last time she was here. Tick. Why do you care? Evil asked. You're getting paid either way, aren't you? I am, but I do actually care for my patients. I wouldn't be satisfied at the end of the day if everyone just sat around me in silence. Evil sat up and huffed. You told me we could sit here until I was ready to talk. I did, said Jessica, nodding slowly. And if all you wanted to do was relax here, then I'm happy to do that. But I think after 3 sessions of relaxing, maybe we could talk a bit. Again, only if you're ready. Ready. Evil couldn't help but roll her eyes. How insulting. To imply she wasn't prepared or able to talk to some stupid shrink. Ready was not the term she would use right now. Comfortable? No, that wasn't the right word either. Though Evil had to admit she wished she could bring the overly plush couch home. Honestly, it was more, bored, she said after a while. I didn't quite catch that, Evil. Ah, she'd said that out loud, didn't she? Her cheeks reddened slightly, and she felt forced to continue. I'm bored. That's the only reason I'd be willing to talk to you right now. There, that ought to put the woman in her place and ideally end the conversation. The less Evil spoke, the less she could make mistakes. That's fine. Evil looked at Jessica and found her still insufferably smiling. If being bored is what makes you want to open up, then that works for me. Works for me, echoed in Evil's mind. She gave a long suffering sigh. Ugh, stop that. Stop what? For the first time, a frown wormed its way onto her therapist's face. It looked strange on her. Stop. Evil grabbed helplessly in the air, but the words escaped her. Stop that, overly niceness stuff. I hate it. Jessica crossed her legs and shifted slightly, picking up her pen and booklet. I'm afraid I don't understand. You don't like it when I'm nice? Eva rolled her eyes again before looking away. No, it's that whatever you want is okay attitude. That pretending you care. I just don't want to hear it. Is it not possible that we do actually care? Why do you think we might not? Evil ignored the scritch sounds of pen gliding across paper. Because you don't, duh. If you're being paid to care, then it doesn't count. That seemed to give Jessica pause for a moment. She pursed her lips and continued writing as she spoke. There's a few things I want to talk about there. The first being what's wrong with a whatever you want is okay attitude. To me, that just sounds like someone is being accommodating. They don't have much of a preference, so they're trying to be nice and let you choose. Evil ran a hand through her hair before closing her eyes. You don't get it. That's not them being nice. That's them waiting for me to pick the wrong choice so they can judge me or ridicule me. And what if there's no wrong choices? Said Jessica, leaning a bit back in her chair. I've been waiting and saying, whenever you're ready, because I truly want you to be willing to talk before we do. Tick. Hope you know that nobody's forcing you to be here, she continued after a beat. Evil scoffed. My father is. I don't think he's forcing you. I think he just wants what's best for you. That was wrong in so many ways. What's best for me? Evil practically spat. You think he wants what's best for me? How does wasting money on therapists count as wanting what's best? How does that count as caring? Get real. This is just so we can say he tried, and after 3 therapists, I'm still a problem, so it must be my fault. Jessica's frown deepened. I heard your first therapist fell ill, and while your second wasn't a good fit. A good fit? A good fit? She screamed. Jessica flinched, as though struck. She tried to tell me I was just lashing out because I'm scared and I'm vulnerable and I'm hurt, but I'm not some piece of fucking glass. Evil took a deep breath in and realized she was breathing heavily. She sank back into the couch, defeated, before closing her eyes. I don't want to talk anymore. I'm not ready, if that's okay. What was she saying, if that's okay? Stupid. Now even she was using useless words, folding under no pressure. She let herself get riled up again, too, and now she'd made a mistake. Even worse, she'd done it to herself. Jessica hadn't even been giving her options, and yet she'd picked the worst one anyways. This time, she couldn't ignore the sounds of pen on notepad. She opened her eyes a crack, knowing exactly what she'd see. Jessica would finish writing and give her a look in. That's okay, and I'm sorry. Wait, what? Sorry? Why was she sorry? Jessica continued. I didn't mean to downplay your past experiences, nor did I intend to mean your father knows best. I was just trying to say that he wants what's best and could be wrong about that, if that makes sense. She'd fucked up, lost her temper, and yet Jessica was the one who apologized? What was her angle? What was she playing at here? Where was the trap? And yet, it didn't feel like an empty apology. It was strange. It felt like she should be angrier, but she wasn't. Her therapist had said she was being accommodating, trying to be nice. There was no way Jessica was telling the truth, right? Evil didn't reply for a while and simply sat there, letting the breeze coming in through the window calm her down. Yeah, she mumbled, rubbing her eyes before speaking a bit louder. Yeah, that kind of does make sense. He thinks he knows best, but he doesn't. Her dad was always busy. Busy with work, busy with her sister, or just busy in general. The reasons didn't matter. If he cared, he'd spend more time with her. It was simple, irrefutable logic. He attended all of her sister's events, but missed hers. Missed her birthday party, even. Yeah, he'd apologize, but that was a garbage corporate apology to save face. It wasn't sincere and made Jessica's, well, her apology was night and day better in comparison. It was like he wasn't even trying. Was he trying? He thought he knew better, but he didn't. If he didn't, he'd listen to her and spend more money on her and her streams and less on therapists. Even if Jessica wasn't the worst in the world. Once more, words were difficult. She turned them over and over in her head, hoping they'd form a sentence that would explain everything. As she reflected, the two of them sat in companionable silence for a while, and eventually, Evil felt like she was on the cusp of coming to a revelation. Maybe her dad thought he knew better, but was wrong. So he did care, but was bad at showing it. Even just afraid like she was, tick. Sorry, Evil, but that's all our time for today. While I know it may not seem like much, I think we made some good progress. Evil frowned, her train of thought fully derailed, and sat up fully on the couch. She scanned Jessica's face for any hint of sarcasm, deception, or even condescension. But she found none. That same gentle smile looked back at her. That's okay, said Evil, her scowl fading slightly. She opened her mouth to continue but stopped. Was it okay? She left the therapist's office feeling not quite better. Not worse either, though. Maybe, just maybe, her heart felt just a little bit lighter. And yeah, that's if that's okay.
That was really good. That's very good.
Fire. Fire.
No, I
Yeah, I mean, therapy's not you go there once and it's all over, everything makes sense again. It's a slow, gradual thing. So
no, absolutely, yeah. But I feel like he did really good showing her internal thoughts with that.
I still want to know who gave me the prompt so I can be like, hey, here's the fic for you. But
Don't you know?
Yeah.
Did no one
No, I
tell
don't.
you?
Nope.
Oh, God.
What? Okay, I'll go get it for you then. I swear I told you. I swear I was going through and whatever. I'll go.
That's very good. I mean, the prompts were like freedom and trapped, weren't they?
It was Roke.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
How do you spell that, Shadrach?
R-
yeah, it was
ROKEI.
ROKEI. That's the only one that pops up when I do that is someone else.
What?
Yeah, and a couple of ideas for more of like
The philosophical dude. What?
Like Brokey.
What is it? Donkey Dinosaur? No, who? What? Let me go to the.
know.
Let me go. Let me go to the. Oh, they're around. Let me go to the channel. For the Secret Santa stuff. Maybe they put in their own name wrong, and I'm just being silly.
Yeah, see, that's what I was saying.
Because there's ROKIE. Yeah.
Okay, that's probably what it is, but it wrote ROKEI when they submitted it. Yeah, they're Roki, not you're okay. Why did I? They just put it in. They typed their own name in wrong in the Secret Santa submission.
Let me ask.
His username on Discord is Dwayne the Rock 6349.
Leaked.
Well, apologies.
Watch it not be me. Someone else.
Yeah. Brokey's like, I was never involved in this. Alright, so that's the first story down.
Apparently, it's Game's birthday today. Or was.
Oh. I suppose we should start thinking about who wants to read A Journey's Bond. I mean, I'll say I've been playing through Pokemon Reborn, which is like a fan game, and I'm quite feeling the Pokemon mood. So I
You
could give it a read.
you want to?
Yeah, unless like someone else like really wants to.
It's also a bit of a longer fic, so I would be shocked if we got through all of it.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
I was gonna be like the first chapter or so.
Yeah, it'd just be 1 or 2 chapters, depending on how long they are.
And everyone say hi to Skeletors because he's going to be watching this recording.
Oh, Skeletors.
Skelly.
Fine. Journey.
Your roomie stirs.
It's like an ancient god. He stirs. They stir.
Are they making soup at the soup store? Or are they buying clothes?
Why would you buy clothes at the soup store? We go find the.
You saw a things that had soup IRL and had clothes underneath it?
I think it's like a real store. Yes. Alright. Alright,
It was real though, it had to be.
I see a picture of it, yeah, look at me, it was like, guys, it's real. Like, there's this store called Soup, but they do sell clothes. I don't know if it is at all, like, connected to the meme. I don't think so, that'd be weird if someone made a company just out of a meme, but who knows. Well, everyone's ready. I can go ahead and read A Journey's Bond, the Galdurge's Pokemon story. A very good one. Summary. This is a story of Neuro and Evil as they set out on their own journey. Who will they meet along the way? What Pokemon will join them on their quest? You'll have to read to find out. There will be quite a few one-shot bonus chapters as well. Oh, and please, if for some reason I cut out during reading, just like mass ping me, because Alright. Chapter 1. Prologue. Ends are just new beginnings. On the outskirts of the city, north of the region, stood a massive stadium. What made the stadium unique was its design. It was shaped like a rose. Inside, time seemed to stand still. Thousands of spectators held their breath as if waiting for permission to exhale. On the field stood two figures separated by a swirling cloud of dust and smoke. On one end stood a man with long purple hair and yellow eyes. He wore a black shirt with a blue sword and a red shield on it, white shorts with the number 1 on them, and a black cap adorned with a golden pattern. He was the strongest in the region, a world-renowned Pokemon trainer with a sense of direction rivaling Zoro. I literally watched One Piece, by the way. This was Leon, champion of the Galar region. On the other side of the field stood a young man with black hair and green eyes. He wore the usual gym challenger outfit. He also wore a green hoodie with a turtle shell pattern. On his shorts was his challenger number 987. The crowd's eyes were fixed on the cloud of dust between them, waiting for it to clear. As the dust settled, two figures emerged. In front of the man with the turtle shell hoodie was a giant turtle with vegetation and a whole tree on its back, a Torterra. It was injured, covered in scratches and burn marks. Despite the damage, it could still hold itself up. In front of Leon lay an orange dragon with a flame on its tail, a Charizard. It lay on the ground, not moving the slightest. Then it started to move, using its arms to lift itself. Leon smiled and the hoodie-wearing trainer grimaced, but Charizard's arms gave in, causing him to collapse, swirl patterns appearing in its eyes. A mechanical voice rang out, confirming what the crowd witnessed. Zzz, zzz. Charizard is unable to battle. Leon is now out of usable Pokemon. The winner is Vettel Johnson. The crowd erupted to cheers, everyone chanting Bell's name. On the other side of the field, Leon turned his Charizard back to his Pokeball and pulled his cap over his eyes. For a moment he seemed upset, until he smiled and threw his cap and shouted, "My time as a champion is over. But what a champion time it's been." Vel brought Torterra back into his Pokeball, and both men approached each other at the center of the field and shook hands. "Congrats, Vel. You've beaten even the unbeatable champion, making you the new champion of the region. I offer you my heartfelt congratulations," said Leon warmly, despite losing. "Thanks, I guess," said Vel with his Britishness. Wait, no, Galarness, getting in the way of him accepting the praise. Still, a small, uncharacteristic smile tugged at his lips as he looked at the Pokeball he had in hand. "Guess that bell was kind of fun," he whispered to himself, making sure Leon didn't hear him. 1 year later, Bella was now the champion of the Galar region, the one who saved Galar during the Darkest Day crisis by defeating and capturing Eternatus. But now, he was leaving that all behind to go on a new adventure, in a region he had never been to before. Sinnoh. As he walked through Hearthome City, he admired how different it was from any other place in Galar. His eyes caught the large building to his right, with a giant ribbon over the entrance. Just as he stopped to look at it, something collided with him, knocking him to the ground. "Ow! You should look where you're walking," he mumbled in his usual monotone voice. He then opened his eyes to see who ran into him. It was a woman around his age, with long silver hair with pink accents, two eyes of different color, one being purple and the other pink. She wore a single star-shaped hairpin and had a blue and purple hoodie that was way too oversized, covering the shorts she was wearing underneath, and white high stockings completed the outfit. The woman quickly got to her feet and started apologizing. "I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to bump into you. You see, I was trying to get to the contest hall since I want to see how different Pokemon contests are in Sinnoh compared to where I'm from. Again, I'm sorry I bumped into you. I guess I was just rushing and not paying attention to where I was going." She then extended a hand to Vettel, who took it and helped him to his feet. "It's fine, I guess," he replied. "But we should seriously look where you're going and not bump into people." After a brief moment, he spoke again. "Name's Vettel, by the way. It rhymes with pedal and metal." She smiled, then replied with a cheery voice, "Hi, Vettel. My name is Annie." She turned around to face the contest hall, then looked back at Vettel. "Have you ever seen a, a Pokemon contest before?" she asked. He replied, "Nope, never. What's a Pokemon contest?" Annie was shocked and said in an overly dramatic tone, "You don't know what a Pokemon contest is? Come with me." "Wait, what?" was all Vettel could say as Annie dragged him into the contest hall. Despite being forced into it, Vel couldn't help but smile a little as he watched the contest unfold. What bizarre situation he found himself in. It wasn't too bad of a situation, though. On the stage was a woman in a flowing pink dress, and she was commanding a Sylveon to use a variety of moves. Sylveon executed the moves perfectly and gracefully, earning applause from the spectators and judges. The contestant ended their performance with a mystical fairy wind causing the stage to sparkle, making the crowd roar once more. He then thought back to his journey in Galar and looked at the Pokeball that contained his first partner, his Torterra that defeated Leon's Charizard. Guess this is officially the end of our journey through Galar, he thought to himself. But this is just a new beginning. The start of something. Oh, the start of what we will do here in Sinnoh. He turned his gaze from the stage to Annie. She was invested in the performance, watching with awe what the performers and their Pokemon were doing, mentally taking notes. She looked genuinely happy at this moment. Look how she used Fairy Wind to end her performance, she squealed. I should maybe try that myself. You do Pokemon contest? Vel asked. Yes! I came here to get fresh ideas for my performances in a new region. She replied excitedly, turning once again her gaze to the stage, waiting for the next performance. A new region. That makes two of us, I guess, muttered Vettel. Did you say something? Annie quickly asked. No, nothing. Don't worry about it, he quickly replied. Okay then, she replied, as energetic as ever. If you want, I can teach you more about contests, but you have to do something for me in return. And what's that? Vel replied in a skeptic tone. You have to be my biggest fan and cheer me on every time I perform, she retorted, giving him a smug look. Vel sighed. I'll consider it. You better give me an answer soon enough, she said, grinning. Yeah, soon, Vel replied, with a bit more warmth in his voice than usual. Annie smiled and gave him a thumbs up. When the next contestant was announced, she quickly returned her gaze to the stage. She was ready to take more notes for her performances. She seemed determined and happy, enjoying this moment and learning from it. Somehow that was enough to make Vel smile, and which was weird for someone as Galarian as him, but he was okay with being happy with someone for once and not only Pokemon. He wouldn't mind if this moment could last a little longer. This was pretty short, so I can carry on to Chapter 2, which is Chapter 1, Johnsons. I'll go by what Skeletons put. Chapter 1, The Johnsons. The Great Sinnoh region, famed for its mountains, renewable energy production, and many myths and legends. Like many other regions, in the past 20 years or so, it was hit with an influx of trainers coming from different regions. Due to this, many Pokemon that originated from other regions found themselves in Sinnoh. At first they were rare, but now they coexist with local Pokemon. Chattots and Squawkabilly flying in flocks, Wishy-Washy and Finneon swimming in schools, and herds of tourists of all kinds running across the field. In southeast Sinnoh rests a small town by the name of Twin Leaf Town. A small house stood further than the rest. On the mailbox was the name of the family that lived there, the Johnsons. Contrary to a peaceful atmosphere outside, chaos reigned in the house. An older Vettel, in his late 30s, shouted up the stairs, Girls, wake up now! Otherwise you'll be late! It had been over 20 years since Vel's journey came to an end. He sighed and made his way to the kitchen, where a warm voice greeted him, just like every morning. Good morning, dear. Your coffee is ready and soon your breakfast will as well. That was Vel's wife, a world-renowned Pokemon choreographer, with performances that impressed even the toughest of crowds, Annie. You really shouldn't be too harsh on them, she told her husband. I know. It's just that today's an important day, and I only want the best for them, he replied, reminiscing about when he was in their shoes. We both do. Let's just hope everything goes well and that they're ready for what lies ahead, she said in a sweet tone, trying to reassure her husband, who was overthinking as usual. She placed a plate with eggs, bacon, and a piece of toast in front of him. Just as he was about to eat, chaos arrived. Dad! Samantha took my socks again. Did not. Look, they're right here. Stop blaming me for everything. Those were Vel and Annie's twin daughters. The eldest of the two by a couple of minutes, Samantha, had long brown hair with bright red ribbons and a silver heart-shaped pin in it. She was wearing her usual yellow cardigan with a white shirt underneath and a bright blue bow. She also had a blue skirt and black stockings with one going higher than the other. The youngest of the two, Evelyn, also had brown hair with it being a slightly darker tone. She wore similar ribbons, with hers being a darker red, being slightly torn at the edges and having a small skull on them. And just like her sister, she had a heart-shaped hairpin that was black and had crack marks going through it. She had similar outfits to Samantha with key differences, including the color of her cardigan and skirt being black, and the blue bow not being exchanged with a bow that matched with the ribbons in her hair. When the two were together, one thing could always be assured. Chaos. Between sibling squabbles and prank attempts on innocent people, Anywhere they went would no longer be at peace. Vel sighed, used to a drama for years, and got up. Listen, I don't want to hear it. Just sit down and eat your breakfast quietly and peacefully. He stretched out and emphasized those last two words. Listen to your father, girls. Come eat while still hot. Annie chimed in with her usual glee. The girls obeyed and started eating their breakfast. The peace and quiet Vel hoped for, though, didn't last long. I'm going to get the best star Pokemon. You won't be able to beat me, Evelyn, retorted Samantha smugly with an equally smug expression. Oh, shut it. We both know my star will be the strongest. Your pathetic Pokemon will be unable to compete with it, replied Evelyn, who was clearly annoyed. Deep down, you know, started Samantha before being cut off by her mother. Stop arguing, you two. Both of you will get strong and amazing partner Pokemon. Now hurry up and finish eating. You both have a long day ahead of you. Okay, Mom, the twins replied in unison. Thanks for selling this for me. For some reason, they never listen to me when I tell them the same, whispered Vel to Annie. Guess you're losing your edge, Mr. Galar champion, Annie whispered back in a playful tone. Soon after the chaos that was breakfast, the girls started getting their bags ready. Their parents watched them as they excitedly stuffed their bags with items they thought they would need on their journey. They exchanged a glance and walked up to the girls. Without a word, they helped organize their bags, since now they were just stuffing stuff in it with no organization whatsoever. You two should organize your bags to be able to have a maximum amount of items and also find them easily, Vel told the girls. His hands moved with expert precision, organizing the bags and optimizing space. Remember to organize your bags in 5 main categories: items, medicine, Pokeballs, berries, and key items. That way you can easily find a potion, Pokeball, or even a raw berry you're looking for. He explained as he helped them, showing where he placed all of those. He recalled all the times he did this in the past, remembering ideal organization for easy access to important items. And there, your bag should be all set. He replied in a slightly sweeter tone than usual. Oh, yeah, one more thing, girls, Vel said, causing the twins to turn around and face him with questioning looks. Your mother and I have a surprise for you, since you'll be out in the wild on your own for the first time, he told them, a slight grin on his face. And he then approached the two with mysterious boxes the twins could only stare at with sparkles in their eyes. What's in them? Asked Samantha, being her sister to the punch. Open it and see. As the twins opened the boxes, their eyes began to sparkle more than a dazzling gleam. In their hands, they held two new phones. Samantha's had a bluish phone case with some yellow and black on it, reminiscent of a Luxray pattern, while Evelyn had a phone case that was dark reddish with black, bearing resemblance to a Zoroark. Bell then pulled two Pokemon from his belt. The surprise isn't over yet, girls, as he said. As he said that, he released the Pokemon that were hiding in the Pokeballs. They were both Rotoms. After a second, a Rotom entered each of the girls' phones, bringing them to life. With your mother, we decided to be guided to give you two Rotom phones, so that way we can call each other, and just as well as finishing his sentence, he was cut short by his daughters. Both Samantha and Evelyn ran to hug their father in unison and thanked them. He smiled, and Annie ever so playfully asked her daughters where her hug was, to which they both left their father to hug her. Soon, they would leave the house to get a star Pokemon and go on an adventure of their own. As the happy family left the house to make way towards Sand Gem Town, a town east to Twin Leaf Town, Annie and Vel trailed slightly behind, talking between themselves. I always wondered what you were like when you started your journey, dear. I bet you're excited as them, Mr. Always Grumpy. Annie told her husband with a mischievous smile on her face. Fine, I'll admit I was a bit excited. And for your information, I'm not Mr. Always Grumpy. It's just that I'm a bit more serious, Vel retorted. This earned a giggle from Annie. Same old turtle boy hiding in his shell, she said while giggling. Yeah, whatever you say, dear, Vel replied with a small smile on his face. Before Annie could say anything, Evelyn's voice rang out. Can you two please stop trailing behind and kick up the pace? Then Samantha chimed in. Yeah, we won't be late to get our first Pokemon. If we are late and don't get a Pokemon, we'll be mad. The two parents laughed and then ran to catch up with their energetic daughters. Guess we should focus on getting you two some Pokemon then, Annie said cheerfully. As they made through the tall grass between Twin Leaf Town and Sand Gem Town, Val kept making sure he had all his Pokemon with him just in case a Pokemon were to attack Samantha, Evelyn, or Annie. He knew that Pokemon that lived here were only low-level Bidoof and Starly, but he couldn't help but worry. As they arrived in Sand Gem Town, the girls were bubbling with excitement and started rushing towards the lab at the edge of the town, close to where they first arrived. As their parents called to them, they all looked up to see the entirety of the lab. Samantha and Evelyn, ever so energetic, burst through the front door. All Bella and Annie could do was let out a sigh and follow them. As they made their way through the lab to meet with the professor, Bella couldn't help but reminisce about another CERN lab in Galar, where someone he knew became their head professor of. At the end of the lab, a 60-year-old man with a fluffy mustache stood near an odd machine which contained 3 Pokeballs. His name was Professor Rowan. As he heard footsteps approaching, he quickly turned to face Val and Annie. "Ah, Mr. and Mrs. Johnson. Nice to see you two again," he said. He then turned his gaze to Samantha and Evelyn. "And you two must be Samantha and Evelyn. You're both here to get your first Pokemon and set off an adventure of your own, correct?" he questioned the twins. The twins nodded and replied in unison, "Yes!" Professor Rowan let out a hearty chuckle. "Oh, ho, 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 ho. How good it is to be young," he thought to himself, and then turned to Annie and Belle. "Did you two give them Rotom phones?" he questioned them. Before any of them could answer, Evelyn cut in. "Yeah, look how cool mine is." Samantha, who wasn't going to let her sister take all the attention, took hers out and started showing it to the professor. "Look at mine. It's way cooler than Evelyn's," she retorted as if challenging her sister. Before this could escalate further, Professor Rowan cut in. "Perfect. Perfect. If you two could just hand me your Rotom phones for a second, I'll give them an upgrade." The twins rushed to give them their phones, as if racing to see who would get the upgrade first. Professor Rowan hooked up the phones to his computer, and after a few minutes handed them back to eager twins. "There, I installed a Pokédex on both your Rotom phones. Now every time you encounter a new Pokemon, or catch one, its data will automatically be registered." He told them explain how the Pokédex app works. He then turned to the machine. The twins followed him towards it. Annie and Belle stayed back, watching carefully and letting the girls have their moment. "Here are the choices of Pokemon you two have for your starter Pokemon." The girls looked curiously as the machine opened and the old professor took out the 3 Pokeballs. He released the 3 Pokemon at once. Red plasma surrounded them as they emerged from their Pokeballs. On the left stood an orange monkey with a flame for a tail, a Chimchar. Next to it stood a green turtle with a plant sprouting from its head, a Turtwig. And finally, on the right stood a blue penguin standing proud, a Piplup. The two twins stared in awe at the choice in front of them. Rowan's voice rang out. "Now, who will you choose to join you on your journey as your first partner, girls?" And that is chapter 1. I'm I'm curious to see like how I need to like reread again, but how Sky just handles like the fact that the kids just go on their own in Pokemon. It was a little surreal. That's good. Wow. I mean, it makes sense, but Pokemon's always been kind of about growing up and maturing, I think, in some ways.
Since when?
No, I mean, like...
Since when?
Oh, see you, Dice Cat.
Oh, see you later, Dice Cat.
No, I feel like some of the Pokemon games, okay, the Pokemon anime especially, like...
He never grows up!
Hey,
Nothing
well,
changes!
okay,
What are you talking about?
not physically,
nothing changes.
mentally, immaturely, each season he grows up. Of course, that's...
Until it gets reset. What are you talking about?
That is on Game Freak. That's because of the games. I don't... The messaging in each game. I don't know, I'm just saying stuff now.
I wish what you were saying was true. It'd be better. Yeah, he does at the end. It was just annoying how they kept resetting everything because we can't end the show. It has to keep going. Dude, but like even stuff for kids can be good. Like I can't talk about the newest stuff. I didn't play that. I'm not a kid anymore. If I play Pokemon, I'm playing Pokemon Showdown to be competitive in a children's game. Team Rocket are unironic. Yeah, they're unironically really good characters with actual backstories. Wait, cartoon back?
Oh, okay. I was waiting for the post discussion. Okay. Uh, yeah. When do I start? Hello?
Hello, you can start.
Yep, we hear
Okay.
you.
Uh, mm,
Oh, you have AO3 extensions. Cool.
mm, your recommendation is very helpful and
Thank
make the
Jerry.
margin very long.
Yes, thank Jerry for that.
Last time, yep, gotta thank him for that. So last time it was chapter 3, I think. Uh, I forgot. Wait a second. Oh yeah. Okay, all right. Chapter 4, Last Blood. It is the afternoon of Christmas Eve. The preparations for the most holy time of the year are still ongoing. Unfortunately, something more than a simple interruption is upon them. Chaos. That was what was happening on the street, inside the building, in the store, everywhere. Sound, ears screechingly loud and accompanied by the scream of the dam and shattering of glass windows. A gloomy sky hung overhead, casting a dim crimson glow over the ground. The wind was a sickly warmth, melting the snow into little drops before smearing them across people's faces in the form of beaded sweat. I need out of this! A man in an oddly formal attire screamed, unfitting of his suit. He held many bags, all of which looked very heavy and cumbersome. A woman who looked fancy out of her mind and tugging at his back. No! I need them! I must have them! She shouted, words laced with greed and gluttony. She tugged at him relentlessly, fighting to have the bag in his hand. He felt his blood boil inside his vein upon the sight. A knuckle formed in his hand and quickly grew heavy. He felt the power of wrath, so forcing his hand to act. Thud. And in the midst of all the chaos, she stood, simply observing the mayhem with a wide grin on her face. It was incredibly pleasurable to see her entire plan come into fruition without her having to lift a finger. She watched another part of the crowd fighting over minuscule things that won't even matter soon. After this opera had reached its climax, its chorus would shatter the image of reality. She thought of the angel again, the one she had spared out of pity. For some reason, it made her feel more than what she ever thought of. Heck, if she dove deep enough, she might even shed a tear or two. But she had to keep her posture straight and free from sorrow. After all, who is a commander that fumbles under the slightest of pressure? Excuse me. Her spiral of thoughts was interrupted by a deep, raspy voice. Looking up, she saw a creature with a distinctly large abdomen with a mask covering the face. Why are we doing this again? She tilted her head. Isn't causing mayhem what you demons do best? That would be true, but there's no killing, which some of us are fighting are satisfactory. That is my one rule. Her tone was almost threatening. No killing. After all, who is there to see the aftermath if they are all dead? We are making sure that the torture level is just below the threshold, just enough for them not each other. Good, good. She rubbed her palm together. It's all going well. We will reach the climax soon then. And then this world's requiem will be sung. What it is you seek, sire? She snickered sinisterly. This Christmas, if you the one more jealous, it will be like hell has come down on earth. But he tried to object, but was cut off. It will have other things you guys want, warm enough so you don't self-destruct, but still enough to remind them of what they had lost. They will know the true ruler of this realm. She hopped up and down. It's going to be glorious. But, sire, how shall we proceed? Worry not. She conjured a wall of flame, and it danced effortlessly in her hands. Then it began to take shape. A drawing, a torso, 2 arms, and a face. He had hard, he had hard black hair still visible through the fire. What is this? This guy is going to bring down Christmas all by himself. Glow so bright and he's still visible all around the earth. The image became clear enough to see the slight wrinkle on his face. Bring him to me, but remember that your trickery will not work on him, and be cautious. He is traveling with a rather peculiar companion. Sire! The demon unfurled his wing and flew away as a big gust of wind swept. Evil only smiled, practically being able to imagine what was about to go down. Run away, little angel, she giggled. See how far your little legs can take you. With a flinch, stopping dead in his track. You okay? You okay? She wasn't okay. She saw the grim outcome, the horror descend upon them, the terrible fate facing them. The pain had spiked. Her heart felt like someone was drilling a hole through her ribs. Her balance faltered, barely putting her hand on the brick walls before her legs gave out. Her breathing came out uneven, outbursts, all hurting like fine needles strategically placed by an unintelligent surgeon with a taste for pain. She closed her eyes, letting the cool air rush inside her body. Then she let it back out, slightly warmer than how it entered. Her head rose slightly, enough to see Widow's eye. Hey, are you good? Her eyes were still shaking in horror. Iris reduced to pinpoints with the accent of fear. Her voice was hot, refusing to ring from her vocal cords. Her body shook, from what she had just witnessed and the cool air. Her irises dropped to the ground. She is hunting me. They went back up, locking with his. You two are her target. A chill went up his spine. His heart beat a little faster. His breathing got deeper, making him feel the cold even more clearly. Shivering. Her rose wasn't necessarily woven to be a protection against the elements. Despite her unwavering determination, her own strength was weighing her down. It was practically consuming from inside. Widow looked at her halo. It looked more cracked and dull than ever. It looked like the smallest touch could shatter it into a million pieces. We need we need to keep going. Widow finally broke through the silence. If she is this close, our time is running out. She's high, a large amount of air escaping her system. Where is this friend of yours? Widow raised his phone where GPS tracker was active. She should be close, just around this corner. He trailed off with a rapid step. She pushed herself off the cold, hard surface of the walls. Her leg trembled for a second, almost as if she were to fall. Thankfully, she stayed enough before any accident had befallen her. Yet, even that wasn't the thing that was bugging her mind the most. Ever since they had been walking toward this friend of Vero, she had been sensing more and more demonic signal. Something is or has definitely happened around here. Hmm, weird. Vero scratched his head, stopping in what appeared to be a crossroad in an alleyway. She should be here. Neurosense were going crazy. She could barely keep herself sane under all the signals. She squeezed her eyes shut, concentrating what little power she had. With a flick of her finger, a bright flash exploded from her hand. It illuminated the floor, the walls, and everything else. Vero covered his eyes upon the blinding light. As the light slowly died down, he retracted his hand and was greeted by a slight most wild. The same walls were painted a sickly and drippy red. There were small particles of dust floating up into the air before fading entirely, and on the floor, lying corpses of bizarre creatures, some beheaded, others ridden with scratch marks all across their bodies. Vero approached one of them, and then he saw them. Creatures. They were the creatures from his drawing, down to the bone and the skin covering them, along with the hellish blood spattered on their carcasses. They were quickly reduced to dust in the wind. Bloody hell. Widow could barely speak under his shock. He leaned down on one of the corpses, one with particular sharp fang and claw. He inspected it closely. The way his fingers would drip off the most in awe of the bone in a gruesome manner. What could have done this? She concentrated her mind even more. She saw fires raging endlessly, looking like they would consume everything in its path. It's hellish. Widow turned around instantly. Another demon. She confided even more. The flame seemed to calm down a little bit, taking on an entirely different form. No, not demonic, but hellborn. While Widow didn't hear it, Widow felt it out. And it's close. Well, what is it then? Huh? Neural focus abruptly interrupted. Her body went stiff as she felt this creature, the flame emanating off its fur, the light glowing off its heat. A terrible silence took over both of them until it was violently shattered. Before Neural even had time to react, she heard the loud footsteps of the beast sprinting toward her form behind. She turned around as fast as she could, only to be met with a set of burning eyes. Little light flashed before her eyes as this massive canine practically pounced on Nora like she was some sort of dog toy. Its fangs reflected the light in such a wicked manner, most of them covered with the same crimson liquid of the corpse. What the hell is that? Vader screamed on top of his lung, trying his best to stay out of its way. Nero covered her face with the back of her forearm, trying to protect herself from this monster that was getting ready to claw to her flesh. It's a hellhound! The beast, without missing a beat, began to scratch the living hell out of Nero. Its claws moving with little efficiency, spraying neural crimson light force all over the screen. Ah! The feeling of her skin being torn, she would never forget. The beast, noticing the weakened state of the angel, placed a locked palm over her chest, pinning her rather helpless state. Even though it seemed confused about how easy it was to take on such a high-level threat, it didn't see Vader approaching with ferocity, coming from the side with a stop sign in his hand. Bomb! The beast growled as it thrown off its prey. Its heavy body fell off the cold concrete. Widow saw its flaming fur radiating off its every pore. Its gaze looked at it that it did. Widow felt a newfound determination rise inside of him. Yeah, come on now! He taunted the beast, hitting the metal sign on the ground and creating sparks flying through the winds. Yet something was off about the beast. Nothing it had seen, Widow. It was almost as if it was scared. The flame of its skin dimmed and its eyes cooled down. What? Running away? The beast entered a sleeping position and calmly started to run. The message light was entirely extinguished. A large puff of smoke began to emanate from its body. Quickly, each bubble began involving its frame until completely out of sight. Widow began to swipe away the smoke, trying to see to no avail. That was until he saw the gleam of light reflected off a metal surface, swipe through, along with the silhouette of a feminine figure appearing. Widow could see a faint glow of purple emanating from her eyes. More of the figure began to show as the smoke began to subside. The blonde hair, adorned with two little black horns protruding out of her strand of hair. Widow's eyes widened as her entire figure entered view. "Father!" He spat out, mind absolutely dumbfounded by the idea. You and the beast, the same thing." He looked around, the corpse still decaying. "Were you the one who had slain this demon?" "Couldn't have them invading our meeting place, am I right?" Silver blurted out, yet her gaze remained sharp. Then one more. Sorry, the cat got on the no. Oh, God. Be right back. Gotta.
It's so quiet now.
Oh, okay. Couldn't have them invading a meeting place, am I right? Oh. Silver blurted out, yet her gaze remained sharp. There's one more enemy, though. She started taking steady and cautious steps toward the wounded angel. Wait, don't mind ways. Neuro is helping me. I can assure you, you can trust her. Well, her words held resentment. She has slain many of my sins. It was only fair that I repay with her blood. Widow tried to intervene, but Cerber aura alone terrified him. She took a step. She took steady step, trident in hand. Neuro had barely touched back on her feet, just enough to be eye level with Cerber. Cerber wasted no time. Tell me, fallen angel. Widow had never heard Cerber so direct. What do you see when you look into my eyes? Neuro gazed into her eyes, seeing the world from her perspective for a moment. She saw flames raging, consuming everything and adding it to itself, growing even more with an unstoppable force. Hatred. She spoke softly while pressing her open wound. You hate me and my kind. I'm sorry that such thing had happened. We always thought the hellhounds were hunted to extinction by demons. Nero closed her eyes, a single tear leaving her eyes. If you wish to kill me now, proceed with your judgment. Cerber's pupil dilated slightly upon her word. She peered into the view of the angel, seeing horrors beyond her comprehension, along with the worst consumer of them all. Regret. You have seen much. Cerber gripped her trident tightly, feeling the cold metal pressing into her skin. I'm not going to kill you. Nero's eyes flickered open, a short gap escaping her lip. At least, she turned her back slowly, began to walk away back to Edo. Not yet. Widow watched them both with an empty expression, eyes wide like a car headlight. Sarah stopped next to him as she had just done the most monotone thing in the world. So, You good? Widow faded words stuck out the server. Well, so, you good? Widow felt his words get stuck in his throat. Am I good? Are you good? That strike looked kind of rough. It hurt a little. Silver scratched the back of her head, turning back toward Nuro, who was trying to feast over her wounds. Our veterinary friend over there seemed to be in a lot worse shape than I am. She turned back toward Fiddle. She's lucky to have you by her side, otherwise they would have been over very quickly. Silver, I'm confused. Fiddle was in disbelief. You always told me I was living in a fantasy, that this was all delusion, yet now you have shown yourself a little dog from hell. Silver looked conflicted. I had to dissuade you from peering in too much. She placed her hand on his shoulder. I feared that one day you might figure out my origin. I see that there was rather futile attempt. Well, there is another thing I have to say. Without taking him, what's up? I called Miniko an hour or so ago, and both she and Camilla were in bad shape. Camilla might be paralyzed for a long while. Server frozen apart, her brain raced, answering, going, and passing. Does this angel tell you anything? Like, anything that's linked to why she's here? Apparently, she herself was stolen by some weird eldritch being that also happens to be the same thing that did all this stuff. And whatever this thing is, it seems that it wants to practically erase the winter. It is settled and she gripped her trident. Whatever this thing is, we take it down, for the sake of our friend at the very least. Widow nodded along. So, where do we start it then? Saber pointed toward Neuro before heading toward her way. We have to help our ally first. She extended her hand toward him. You with me? Widow looked at Neuro, her frame shaking in the gray snow. Yeah, let's go. He took rapid steps toward her, Saber following closely after him. Neuro just held her arm tight, trying to stop the red streak leaking out of her skin to no success. Shit. Gritted teeth, finding difficulty maintaining his gaze at the grotesque sight. That's a lot worse than I thought. Sever stood forward, a small flame growing inside her palm. For your sake, let me help. I appreciate the care, but her words had gotten increasingly quiet. Your flame has no presence on me. Just because you can't bleed out doesn't mean you can't fight this yourself, Seven continued, voice growing increasingly desperate. If you wish to become a demon prey, so be it. Nero seemed to hesitate, a slight shiver going up her spine at the word prey. After a while of most after a while of more futile attempts, she finally gave in and extended her bleeding arm. Sarah moved with the care of a gentle nurse, the flame in her hand illuminating the deep cut in her arm. Hold still. With a swift moment, she traced the flame across her skin, right to the cut marks. Nora flinched hard, practically jumping out of her embrace with an unmatched agility. Her pupils had shrunken again, mostly out of fear, yet her question were answered as she looked back at her arms. The dry blots on them were gone, revealing the pale skin under the strain. The cut, once a deep vibrant red, now a thin line of dark brown running throughout. The biggest difference was the distinct lack of sting of her pain wound. But how? Nora was awestruck. Not all fire is bad. Sarah would quickly to reply. We might be the being of different world, but right now, our goals seem to align. Wait, if Nero can't bleed out, how can she die? Widow tried to be sneaky or axy, which failed as he instantly caught the side eyes from her. Angels have supernatural healing abilities, Sarah. Doesn't matter how much you hurt them, as they will heal up eventually. An angel may only die with one condition. Sarah sighed, averting her gaze. You need to crush their heart with one spare hand. Ka-choom. Crack, crackatoo, lightning noise. White flash erupted above them as the rumbling thunder echoed. They all looked up, being greeted by thickly red clouds rapidly expanding and covering the sky. We need to be fast, Neil exclaimed, the energy coming back to her voice. She is getting closer. Agreed. Let's go. They were ready her departure, ready to make a run for it. Just know that we will have company very soon. Weddle absolutely lost out of his mind, grabbing his humble stop sign and began to sprint after them with all his might. Crunch. The thickening sound of bones being broken rang throughout the street. Scream accompanied the ringing of weapons clashing and clattering as the barrel fell on the concrete. A gentle breeze passed through the street, contrasting with the absolute mayhem going on between the buildings. Take this, you disgusting pest! Several voice rang, filled with fear and brutal rage, and a lust for calamity. She lashed out with her dark trident, piercing a hole clean to a chubby demon, almost icky demon. A small tremor shook as its corpse fell on the road. Hiya! A smaller demon took the opportunity of her minor distraction and started charging toward her. Silver turned too late, being greeted by the demon running toward her with a lance in its hand. Crack! An almost lightning fast movement crashed in from the side, sending it flying toward one of the parked car, activating its alarm as its body left a dent on its door. The corporal outlet again stood behind her, his makeshift weapon gripped tightly between his fingers. Did you grow stronger suddenly or something like that? Silver voice came, loud and puzzled. I don't know. Widow swung the sign. It no longer felt heavy in the sand. It more felt like it had taken a life on its own, and had taken a liking to him. It crashed down on another human face, came its skull with a sickening crunch. Neuro watched him fight in awe, her eyes were drenched in tears. A celestial true strength isn't dependent on physique, but the mind. Widow's mind is powerful. It is amplified body to inhuman levels. Told you all that knowledge is power. Widow shouted with teeth as he crashed another as he chased another demon who looked a lot less terrifying when running away from him. Oh, don't get cocky. Shiver through the ground, sensing something. Something was off. They were clearly outnumbered and could have easily defeated in if their enemy actually strategized. Yet they all seemed to be running around like headless chickens, just waiting to be mauled by Widow with one. Nero felt a small surge inside her, just enough to feel, not enough to make enough of an attack. She clicked her finger, a few crystals of ice flying off her hand, not enough to be dangerous on its own, but could be of help to someone else. Vero, hold still. She did a swing toward Vero, who had just gotten done beating up another one of the beasts. She also began to conjure a small cloud of ice in her hands, barely more than smoke. What? It sounded louder and ever, almost too ready to kick some ass. He eyed the new horde of creatures, approaching with gleaming eyes, gripping his weapon ever more tightly. He felt something tug at his weapon. Looking at his head, he saw Nuru holding its edge with a soft blue glow emanating from her hand. Before he could say anything, she ran her hand through the entire length, planting its edge with an eerie aqua. Tiny shards of ice were locked inside its metal body, ready to deal maximum damage. Widow never felt so ready. Just what I wanted. He lunged at the group, running toward them, swinging weapons violently, hitting many at once, as if the flesh was immediately down, breaking the bones with a mere paper straw. I could do this all day. He smashed his weapon on the floor, sending a flurry of smoke result on the remainder of the horde, who began to slowly back away in terror. Just because I draw y'all doesn't mean I want to decapitate you all one by one. He screamed with pride in his voice. Silver noticed something terribly wrong. Well, your rage is consuming you. You must regain control. Yet she could only do so much with many more demons seeking out to devour it. I have never felt so alive. Widow let out a maniacal laugh and he charged into a retreating group of demons, separating even farther into the group. Widow found himself in the middle of two sides, close enough to the path to see them giggling and hissing under the breath. He was almost upset to These so-called monsters from hell were incredibly cowardly. "That's all you got!" Widow screamed at them, jamming at them with the metal sign in his hand. Look at you! Who would have known that you are just a bunch of crack? The crunching sound of asphalt breaking apart rang through the street, along with a heavy gust of wind that brushed his hair. He felt something big, something completely and utterly horrifying looming over him. Before he could do anything, his hand yanked him off the ground, holding him hostage like a toy. His humble weapon fumbled out of his hand, crashing on the concrete with a lame clank. Widow was slowly lifted to the air, his legs dangling heavily out of him as he came face to face with the beast now holding him hostage. His skin was saggy beyond reason. The bulging eyes partly engraved into the disgusting flesh. Saliva dripped down into bulk from his large mouth. Air Patricia, it grumbled as Widow lifted upward. Widow's composure finally snapped. The loudest, most primal, most femboy scream. Oh, it's femboy. Escaped his lung before the center of tension. Herbert made a sharp turn, being greeted by the sight of Widow about to become demon food. Widow! He made a run for it, only to cut off by two large demons, the blades which he had become one with their bones. Widow felt the pungent scent of the demon breath on his face. He saw his slimy tongue writhing in excitement as his large mouth opened, revealing a crooked set of teeth glistening with its saliva. He clenched iron teeth, every last bit of masculinity being forcefully squeezed out of him as he whimpered in fear of his limbs shaking. Then he abruptly stopped. He opened one of his eyes, looking down on the demon, who looked like he was just told to stop, foamed midway like a baby, his mouth slowly closed, slowly nodding his head to something. "Hey, were you gonna eat me or something?" Widow mocked, a faint sense of courage in his voice. "Not food," he grumbled, licking the saliva off his thick lips. Then, with an earth-shattering boom, its massive, gorgeous wing unfurled, ready to take flight. "You are deserted for us." The sound of the demons being violently thrown off echoed throughout, accompanied by the pain scream as they hit the ground, rolled away for the battlefield. "Come here!" Saber butted to the crowd toward the demon, yet she was just a tad too late. Before she could take anything, a massive gust of wind, accompanied by a thick cloud of smoke, spread throughout the entire street. The incense current threw them all off. When the dust had finally settled, both of them were gone, completely and utterly vanished from the sight. The rest of the demons stood, almost holding back the laughter after what had just transpired. Where did he go?" Silver gritted her teeth harder than before, feeling a sense of dread. A sense of anger rise inside of her. She began to pierce through the body of the demon, trying to crawl away from the battlefield, ending the journey here. Neuro looked horrified, her eyes quivering in fear. She took him. Silver sighed violently as she shot into a group of demons. Neuro, tag him! Silver shouted while fending off the demon. We have to find him sooner than later. She had the right judgment. If they didn't kill him here and there, he must have some value to them that spared him from his grim fate. Another demon jumped through the crowd, laughing maniacally as it swung its blade left and right. Silver was up quick to intercept with her trident. Don't worry, Battle! She crashed into the demon with ferocity, sending it into the wall where it cracked the bricks. We will come for you! High above the city, on top of one tall skyscraper, Eva stood tall, simply observing the absolute mayhem going on. She wore a smug smile, watching the street being painted a grotesque red, the light emanating from her goons. She looked up the cloud, growing thicker and condensing even more, choking the air even further to the point of suffocation. She looked down one of the large street, seeing a rather forceful duo clashing with her forces. Unfortunately for them, she wasn't interested in them. What was unfortunate, however, was that she had just gotten her hands on someone she cared about. It was time to reenact the final act to start the last movement of this sonata. She made a wide grin, stretching her ears, searching ears to ears as she walked near the edge of the roof, and without warning, she jumped down to the street below. Wow. Okay. Oh, hi, Abora. It's interesting the direction where this goes, you know? Um, yeah, just in time, I think. Yeah, maybe a little late. Uh, anyway, not much to talk about this. It's interesting. Yeah, some fun lore. Like, that's very fun foreshadowing. Yippee. Oh yeah, Iron Hand, have you like been here for the last two read along that we did? I don't remember. Ah, yeah, urban fantasy. He has like secret lineage, special blood, all that cool stuff. The real stuff. Like, what does that mean? Like mythology? Yeah. Oh yeah, the next part is the ending. Yeah, he will like second phase shown in power up sequence, and then just goes like, I knew it all along. I have this power, and uh, anyways, the thing is, the prompt was you squeeze two prompts into one, I believe. What is it to be evil and a cold day in hell? You know, I thought like, yeah, what is it to be evil? A very introspective, philosophical type of prompt where you like do very deep characterization, and then maybe a core day into like if like you have no idea what to do, it's like very broad prompt, like it's a like idiom, like oh, it's something rare, very happening, and it's Christmas, and like maybe it's hell and they are having Christmas there. I don't know, but then like oh, evil is like pure evil, as in like she's straight up going to blow up the world with putting hell on earth. And it's cold day in hell because like, Christmas. And like anyway, James is gonna read the Demon Queen. Oh, 100 years later. I'm done for today. Hey Chad, are you muted? Because you haven't been saying anything all this time.
Sorry. Wait, is everyone else muted? Like, what?
Like, yeah, everyone else was muted, and I was talking to Bora in the chat.
Yeah, I was also muted. I have to press the mute on my microphone because otherwise, if I press only on Discord, I'll mute on Discord, but I won't mute on the OBS that's recording. So, I don't want ambient noise being picked up, which has happened sometimes.
That sounds Complicated. Okay.
I mean, it's not complicated. It's just I muted my physical mic instead of muted Discord. That's why it doesn't say I was muted, but I was muted.
That makes sense.
I wasn't listening to that reading because I haven't heard the beginning of that story, and I actually want to read it, so I was gonna read it on my own and I didn't want to be spoiled.
Yeah, pretty fun. 10,000 word total. Pretty neat.
Your internet died like 10 times in the last minute? Every 6 seconds? That's crazy. Well, the next thing is supposed to be 100 Years Later by Fract, read by someone else. Is there someone who would like to read Evil in Breath of the Wild? Why not, Dev? Oh. You're also in a room with someone else.
I can read it if we got no one else. 100 years later.
Yeah, you
by
have to.
Fract.
Yeah, you have to read this 100 years later.
Well, you know, won't worry about it for now, at least. See. Okay. Looking for it. What chapter were we on?
I think 3?
Ghosts of the Past? This is familiar.
Does Fract remember? I'll go check the YouTube. Go check the VODs.
Yes.
Wait, did I put... wait, did I even put... timestamps on that? I'm not sure I even put timestamps on the last one yet.
It was 1 and 2
I kind
last time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. I've just been kind of like letting. I kind of just been letting.
Like other people.
Letting Domi make them for me.
Alright, 3. I mean, these chapters feel pretty short. I could probably just read through 3 and 4 next.
Yeah, probably.
Alright, let me stream. Alright. This is 100 Years Later by Fract. Chapter 3, Echoes of the Past. You'll know what to do. The voice gave no further instructions. Seriously, voice? Really? You can do no better than figure it out? Why? Evil was liking his voice less and less each time it talked. Evil would have kept yelling this mysterious voice that was talking to her, but another pig creature was curious about her screaming. So, like any rational person, she took her stance and prepared to kill this thing. This creature didn't leap at her. Instead, it walked up slowly and swung horizontally. Evil tried to jump backward and ended up doing a backflip. As she landed, she expected time to slow, but instead, she got smacked in the side by the backhand, followed up, and flew 10 feet. For the love of Hylia, how strong is this thing? Evil wondered as she stumbled to her feet. The creature is coming for her again, trying to finish what started. Evil was not going to let it, swinging the club wildly once, twice, thrice, 4 times, killing the thing. As it fell, it began to dissolve into purple sludge and imploded, leaving a few bits of horn and fang, along with its club. Evil knelt, picked up the pieces of her foe and putting them in a slate. It popped up some information about the items. New item acquired. Bokoblin horn. The severed horn of a bokoblin, a creature often encountered in the plains of Hyrule. It isn't edible, but it can be tossed into a stew with some critters to make an elixir. New item acquired. Bokoblin fang. A tooth obtained from bokoblin. It's worn down and not very sharp, but still pretty hard. Cook it alongside critter to make an elixir. Bokoblins. I have no idea if I'm saying that right, I'm sorry. That's what they're called. Wonder where this guy came from, though. Evil looked in the direction that the bokoblin had come from, and saw a ruined building on the steps of the temple. Running over, Evil found an empty building that was unidentifiable after a century of disrepair. As she poked around, she noticed nothing but a few barrels, which had been opened and ransacked long, long ago. As she turned to leave, the entire wall that As she turned to leave through the entire wall that caved in, she noticed a single stone box. The place in the back of her mind stirred with one singular word: loot. Evil walked over to the ancient chest and popped it open. Inside there were 2 items of clothing, some pants that were in good enough condition, and a pile of fabric that might have been a shirt at some point. Evil just took the pants. As Evil wandered a little, she suddenly remembered that the voice had given her some direction. It wasn't much, but something about a map and a dot on the slate. She figured that the dot should be a good place to start going to, given she could locate herself on the map. There was no map, just a blank screen with a blue and yellow dot. It was exasperating. How was Evil supposed to get information if there were no reference points? And how did she know about reference points to begin with? Evil started moving, determined to scour the entire plateau if she had to. The blue dot moved with her. For the love of the goddess, be intuitive, you slab of rock! The point of the map was down towards the edge of the plateau, so that's where Evil headed. On the way, she spotted a small group of bokoblins around a campfire, but she smelled steak. She was hungry, and she was ready to kill for some good food. Creeping up to a ruined building, Evil contemplated the way she could get that steak. Open combat didn't seem the smartest, as a 3-on-1 was not likely to come out for Evil. But the ceiling of this building had worn into mostly circular chunks of masonry. Evil pushed one off. As the sphere of masonry rolled towards the camp, the entire camp suddenly exploded. That was weird, Evil muttered as she ran to the now quite charred steak. She remembers red barrels, which must have some magic in them. As she approached the steak, however, she forgot about the mysterious explosion. Evil pulled a hunk of meat off the bone and examined it carefully. Most appeared to be inedible, but there was a slice in the middle that held up. Wolfing down the steak, Evil started moving towards the position on the slate. She had to sneak past some bokoblins, but eventually Evil made it to the small cave. The floor was like the place she woke in, with a concerning amount of sediment, and the walls and ceiling was just dirt. How this place was exposed was beyond Evil, but she was beginning to push aside her questions for now. A terminal popped up as Evil entered. She looked at it suspiciously. It did nothing. After a few minutes, the voice returned. It was extremely exasperated. Evil, are you going to continue to stare at the terminal, or are you going to get to putting the Sheikah slate in the terminal this century? I really can't wait another 100 years here. You know, you're really annoying, voice, Evil yelled. This thing could kill me. You never know with unknown science technology in caves. Well, if you never try, you'll never know what it does, and you'll never get down from this plateau. I bet you don't want to miss the cool sights outside the bubble of safety and calm you're in. Right, Evil? Wink. Fine, I'll do it. Exasperated, the voice's needling. Evil slotted the slate into the terminal, and a message appeared. Sheikah Tower network activated. Please watch for falling rocks. The world shook, and everything went black. Chapter 4 Technological Mystery. Evil stood up and shook her head. She was somewhere high, and the wind was a little strong. It was almost too cold for up here. As she got her bearings, she noticed the Shika slate in the pedestal where she had put it. Shika? I think it's Shika. Shika slate in the pedestal where she had put it. As she watched, text appeared above the slate. Scanning area! The stone above the pedestal began to glow, and a single drop of liquid light slowly fell onto the slate. Regional map extracted, ancient tower network activated, an apparently accurate map of just the plateau appeared on the slate's map function, and there were outlines of other regions that Eva had never noticed before. A blue icon and her blue dot were at her location. She could even see the trees. Just as Eva was turning away, the voice returned, quietly. The castle's keep lit up with a miniature star, but a swirling cloud of black and purple smoke rose as well. Remember, Evil. Try to remember. You have been asleep for 100 long years. When the Old One regains all it has lost, this world will face its end. Go, Evil. You must hurry. An avatar appeared in the rising smoke. The pig-like figure rose to the apex of the castle and roared in defiance, then faded along with the light. The smoke ring remained, swirling ominously. That's weird, Eva remarked. Now, how do I get down from here? The answer presented itself in the form of a hole in the floor. Evil peered downwards, and found that there was a small platform on the tower's side, and a ladder-like surface to climb down. After an hour and a half of climbing, Evil dropped back onto solid ground, panting slightly. Alright, that's done. Now, how in the name of Hylia do I get out of this place? Almost in answer to Evil's thoughts, the old man glided down from somewhere. Evil decided not to ask. Ho ho! You want to get down, young one? That is not an easy task. This plateau has fog banks clinging to its walls that would prevent even the most skilled climbers from daring the ascent. And the only entrance fled longer ago than I care remember. But if you can do something for me, I'll give you my paraglider. That should let you down. What do you need then? The old man shook his head at Eel's hasty response. Follow me, and I'll show you. The old man walked towards the ledge. Abel ran up onto it, and the old man shook his head again. Young people are too hasty. After a very slow walk to the ledge, the old man pointed out. Do you see that over there glowing? That is a shrine. It is said that there is a sacred treasure inside, but I am too old now to go in. If you can retrieve the treasure, you will get yourself my paraglider. By the way, did you hear a voice by any chance on that tower? Eva looked at the old man with newfound suspicion. How did you know? The old man looked at her. It is said that the surviving princess is struggling in the castle, and she is waiting for something or someone. I was merely curious. The old man then stared off towards the castle, almost wistfully. Eva shook her head and trotted off down the hill, leaving the old man to his whatever he was doing. At the bottom of the hill was a pond, with old walls like the ones on the plateau side. This must be the flood entrance, then. Eva skirted and noticed some fish jumping in the pond. Her stomach rumbled slightly, and she opened up the slate, popping out a fresh apple and taking a bite. She sat down beside one of the ruined statues that littered the area like a petrified battlefield. As she sat, she saw one of the statue's eyes turn red. Eva tensed up and readied herself for combat, but then the vision passed. I must be going insane, she muttered. After finishing her apple, Eel dived into a pond and started grabbing at fish. She caught two before they swam away. As she climbed out of the water, a bokoblin poked its head out from its fortifications. She stared at the bokoblin. The bokoblin stared at her. Then it jumped up and down and waved in her direction. Two more appeared. As the three bokoblins, all armed with clubs, ran down towards her, Eel considered her options. She decided to fight and pulled out her club. One of the bokoblins raised his dubious shield of bark, and the other two circled. Evil contemplated her next move. Just as she decided on attacking the bokoblin to her left, the one on the right leaped at her. She slid to the side and smacked the thing in the ribs, but as she was going for a follow-up, the one with the shield went for her ribs. Evil backflipped, and time slowed. She watched the club slowly move, just an inch from her face, before darting in and placing 5 strikes on the thing, dissolving into a pile of black and pink goo in some pieces. Evil snagged the creature's shield and turned to the other two as time reverted. She grinned. One of them had a bruise on his left side, and they both looked slightly scared. Evil moved in, focusing on the one with the bruise. She hit it over the head, blocked the swing from its ally, and smashed the thing into the dirt. It dissolved as well. Now faced with just one, Evil redirected the last Bocoblin's follow-up strike before time slowed momentarily as she flipped the club away. The now defenseless creature was easily reduced to a pile of goo like its brethren. Evil grabbed the clubs that these Bokoblins had and threw out a couple of sticks. After looking over her club, Evil threw it away too, as the handle was starting to crack and splinter. Then Evil walked through the ramshackle fortifications this base had. Calling this a base was a bit misleading. There were really just a couple of crates, a tree, 2 towers, and a fire ring. Suddenly, something swished past Evil's head. She looked up and noticed a 4th Bokoblin on top of one of the towers. Evil ducked behind one of the barricades as the second arrow swished through her where she had been standing. This Bokoblin was clearly not that bright, as it fired into the barricade as soon as it had drawn its arrows back. Evil dashed under the creature's line of sight and started climbing the access ladder. As Evil peeked over the rim, she realized that the Bokoblin had forgotten her existence. Evil capitalized, leaping up to the top of the small tower and smacking her rather new club into the Bokoblin's head, knocking it off and killing it. As the thing disintegrated, Evil heard a noise from the other tower. The ominous chest was leaking smoke, and its purple eyes turned yellow. Climbing down, Evil grabbed the bow and arrows that the archer had before climbing the other tower and popping the lid. Inside, she found a pile of weird rocks. Why couldn't this have been a weapon? At least give me something. Evil slammed the lid closed a little violently and climbed down the tower. The shrine was only a short jog away, and when Evil got there, it was closed. The door looked like the facility she had woken in, and it was glowing orange. How do I get in? Is this all a prank? Suddenly, a pedestal lit up, just like the one Evil activated to exit her awakening place. Evil stared at the pedestal suspiciously. The pedestal continued to glow. Evil relented and put the Sheikah slate into the pedestal. The entire structure turned blue, and the design on the front platform lit up. Then, the design on the top began to glow orange, and the door slowly slid open. Evil walked inside cautiously. There was a very small room inside, and there was a glowing platform sent to the floor. Evil looked at, and then stepped on. The platform began to slide down into darkness. That is chapter 4. Chica. Okay. I was like saying it halfway through. I'm like, this is not how you say this word because it's like based off Chic, like alternate Zelda. Ugh. That must have been annoying. I do apologize for that. That was uh, it was a good story though. I really am enjoying it.
Nintendo will kill you, Iron Hand. But I'm sure a SOAR member knows how to do that. There's gonna be somebody.
Oh, yeah.
Evil integration
She-
for Breath of the
she-
Wild.
She couldn't pick up Flint and like don't starve. I don't know if she could handle. Oh,
Like-
but
On one hand, the story is like a little play-by-play heavy, which isn't the best for pacing. But on the other hand, it is just kind of fun watching Evil do all of the Breath of the Wild things.
much like the Pokemon one, yeah, I think there's this joy seeing the twins like do like the stuff in other worlds. Like, oh look, she's finding a Bokoblin. Or
It's kind of a way to show their characters in different situations.
no, exactly, yeah.
It's an isekai.
it's always an isekai.
Wait. No, as far as I can tell, it seems like it is just an integration. Like if Neuro is Zelda and Evil is Link, then it's fun. Simple.
Yeah.
I wonder if the if any other characters will make an appearance. Like, wait, does that mean that Vettel is the not great king?
I was thinking about Ganondorf.
That's close.
Yeah, Beetle is the great king of evil. Yeah, he probably feels that way to Neuro and Evil sometimes.
For sure.
Oh yeah.
This is just like actually a let's play, but they like as part of like the fun of it, they like that'll like clear their memories or something.
No, this is what the integration actually is. Like, they are literally integrated into the game. I mean, why not? They're also code.
What? Eating pizza. As you guys can tell, my roommate has opened up, so.
Pizza?
Breakfast pizza. I want to see an animation of that so bad. Evil fighting the current model. There's a few that could work pretty easily. Like, I could see Mifa being Cerber really easily. Or like, oh, Camilla could be the best Rivali. Camilla as Bird sounds fun. Not true too, though. They do have to be dubbed.
That's the catch.
It's like, I like the first game. It's good, but it doesn't have a lot of characters. Like, mostly just the people in the Shiga village, and then, and as far as like actual side characters goes, there's the Champion's Ascendants. There's like the Shiga. That's it. I'm glad that Camilla's not dead. Where did Kamimi come from? Is it just another name she has, or did someone call her that and it stuck around?
We have 2 stories left.
I'm eating pizza, so unfortunately I can't read. Unless there's something else to it.
I mean, you're gonna have to read eventually.
That'll be a few minutes for me to finish pizza.
Does Bora or Cartoon want to read Ava fic? Or do we want to just wait a few minutes for you to be done eating so you can read your story? And then someone can read Ava's after. Bora can try to read. What do you mean?
You know when you eat too much pizza, or like greasy food generally, and the inside of your mouth, like the skin starts to peel off?
I love AO3 linker that has a 50% chance of working.
It's a gotcha system.
I was about to say it's the gambling. You feel lucky?
You say that, you a bit deviant, but you don't work at Domino's. I've been working there for a year, and I mean, I can still eat pizza, but man, like, whenever I eat pizza, I bring pizza home for my brother. Like, he's always like, yeah, pizza, I love pizza, and I'm like, man, I wish I could feel like that again.
Okay, is it fine now?
I hear you.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay. Now, which one do we do? Demon Queen, chapter 6, I believe.
Is that where we are? I don't know where we are.
Are we at chapter 6?
4?
No.
Which one?
chapter
Hey, tell me,
3.
which one?
Where
Or-
has anyone checked the VOD?
What the-
Does Ava's here? Ava should know, right?
I read the last thing as well.
Oh, let me just check which one was the chapter, right? Because I was also...
Third.
Oh, the last two read-alongs don't. The last three read-alongs don't have timestamps.
I'll try to remember.
The last four read-alongs don't have timestamps. Wow. Okay.
Chapter 4, yes, because I read chapter 3. Wait, is this right? Oh, wait, did I read chapter 3? I know I definitely read chapter 2.
Yeah, I'm putting up some music. That's fine. It's not very, very loud. I'm just gonna turn it up to a bunch.
And then chapter 3. No, I think we start with chapter 3 then. They're going to go with 4? Okay. Because I don't remember reading it, but someone else may have read it. Is the thing.
Okay, I'm back.
Okay. Oh, that's right. That's right. Okay, so
I
chapter
should have everybody off the room. I think I can. So we are going to doing 4.
You're reading chapter 4 of Demon Queen.
Okay.
Yes.
Boop. Boop. Let's put some music. That's not enough. Chapter 4: Cold water, worse decisions, and somewhere else entirely. Camilla woke up face down on a bed that smelled like regret. It took her a long, foggy moment to realize she was conscious. Her brain felt okay. I'm just gonna pause. Her brain felt like it had been dragged through mud, set on fire, put out, then stepped on for good measure. The mattress beneath her was uneven and lumpy, springs poking at her ribs through a sheet that had seen better centuries. She groaned weakly and rolled onto her back. The ceiling stared back at her. Cracked, yellowed, one slope drip of something suspiciously damp landing in a metal bucket nearby with a steady blink, blink, blink. Oh, he rasped. Right. The inn. Calling it an inn was generous. It was more like a building that had once aspired to be a structure and then gave up halfway through. But it had been inside, had a door that locked, and, most importantly, had a bed that was technically softer than the alley floor. She vaguely remembered stumbling in, paying with shaking hands, being handed a key that felt sticky, and then collapsing face first into the mattress without even taking her boots off. Apparently, she had been out for nearly 2 days. She was still wearing everything. Her cloak was stitched down her legs, her mask sat crooked on the bedside table like it was silently judging her life choices. Her muscles ached in that deep, soul level way that came from being exhausted beyond exhaustion. She lay there, staring, trying to convince herself to move. She managed a small whine instead. Then, the door slammed open. Camilla flinched so hard she nearly fell out of the bed. A demon woman stood in the doorway, arms crossed, face sharp and unimpressed. She looked Camilla up and down with open irritation. You got 2 hours, the innkeeper snapped. Then you're out. No extensions. Camilla blinked at her. Slowly. She tried to speak, nothing came out. So instead she just stared, blankly, dead-eyed, utterly exhausted. The innkeeper frowned. Are you listening to me? Camilla didn't respond. She didn't blink. She didn't move. She just stared, unblinking, like a haunted statue wrapped in a bounty hunter's cloak. Silence stretched. The innkeeper shifted uncomfortably. 2 hours, she repeated, less confident this time. Don't don't be weird. She backed out of the room and shut the door a little harder than necessary. Camilla continued staring at the wall for several seconds after. Then she let out a long, miserable groan and rolled onto her side. 2 hours, she muttered. Cool. Now that for me. It took her another 20 minutes to convince her body to cooperate. When she finally peeled herself off the bed, every joint cracked like it was personally offended she was alive. She shuffled into the bathroom, a crumpled little stone box with a drain on the floor, and a single pipe sticking out of the wall. A shower, cold only. She stepped slowly, carefully, peeling a fabric away from sore skin. She paused to look at herself. Cuts, bruises, scratches. None looked infected. No swelling. No redness beyond normal. I got punched into trash levels. Can I even get infected here? He muttered, squinting. Do demons have bacteria? Do they have, like, evil bacteria? She stared at her arm, then sighed. Nope, not doing microbiology today. She reached for the cleaning products, staring at the bottles with absolute disdain. She couldn't read a single word. Cool, he said flatly. Fantastic. Love being illiterate. She sniffed one, it burned her nose. Probably so. She stepped under the water and twisted the valve. Instant regret. The water came out like liquid ice. Camilla screamed. Not a normal scream, a cosmic, soul-rending shriek fueled by exhaustion, trauma, and the universal truth that cold water on a tired person is an act of war. She unleashed wrath. However, she instinctively muffled her voice with illusion magic. So outside the room, all anyone heard was aggressive shuffling, thudding, and the occasional sound of something being thrown. Inside, Camilla was fighting for her life. Why? She yelled, hoping in place. Why is it so cold? She angrily scrubbed herself down, hissing and swearing, knocking bottles over, glaring at the wall like it personally offended her. By the time she finished, she was shaking, clean, and somehow even more awake and pissed off than before. She dried off, slapped her clothes back on, adjusted the cloak, and left the room with all the enthusiasm of someone heading to their town execution. The streets greeted her like nothing had happened. Same noise, same smells, same demon world that very much did not care about her emotional well-being. As she walked, she noticed the looks. People stare, some with caution, some with irritation, a few with outright fear, and, very rarely, some with something like admiration. She ran behind the mask. Oh, it clicked. The cloak, the mask, the posture. She looked like a bounty hunter. Apparently, that wasn't in gear. She didn't know whether that was good or very, very bad. The thought of bounty hunters brought another, far less abstract thought crashing down on her. Money. She touched the pouch at her side. It was all she had. Once it ran out, she was screwed. She needed work. Her mind flashed, unbidden to the demons that had cornered her earlier. The way they had looked at her, talked about her. Selling her. Her stomach twisted. Nope, she muttered sharply. Absolutely not. She shut that thought down with prejudice. Instead, she tried asking around, carefully, calmly, politely, and got absolutely nowhere. Most places took one look at her and immediately shut down. Some outright refused, others claimed they weren't hiring. A few got hostile. That pretty much confirmed it. Nobody wanted to hire a bounty hunter. Unless, she sighed. Fine. If the world thought she was a bounty hunter, she'd be a bounty hunter. Well, one problem. She couldn't read. Maps were useless. Signs were meaningless. She wandered aimlessly, muttering curses at gods that probably didn't exist here, and she spotted another bounty hunter walking with purpose. She stared at him, then nodded to herself. Okay, new plan. Talking. She slipped into invisibility and followed them, carefully, or mostly carefully. She forgot one crucial thing. Sound. The hunt kept hearing footsteps behind him. Every time he turned around, nothing. He walked faster. So did she. He slowed. So did she. He stopped suddenly, when I froze. Her heart hammered. He turned around, staring straight through her. Hello? He called. Kamala held her breath. After a tense moment, he shook his head and kept walking. She followed, for an uncomfortably long time. By the end of it, poor man was practically vibrating with paranoia. Finally, he stopped at a building that stood out immediately. Solid, maintained, busy. It looked like an evil version of every adventurous guild she had ever seen in anime. Bingo. She waited until he left, then dropped her invisibility. Kamala stood there for a moment, straightening her cloak, adjusting her mask, steadying her breathing. She prayed, not to one god, to all of them. Then she walked inside. Far, far away, Wheel sat peacefully in his garden, book in hand, sipping on a glass of rum he'd made himself. The sun was warm, the air was calm, everything was serene, except for the invisible presence slowly creeping toward him. It drifted closer, and closer, and closer. Barely contained giggle escaped it. Beetle didn't look up. Found magic. Something yelped. Noah suddenly appeared midair and promptly face planted into the ground. Hey! She shouted, immediately sitting up and pouting. That was unfair. You were trying to steal my book, Beetle replied calmly. For 4 hours, she snapped, because you won't let me leave. Finish your studies. She crossed her arms dramatically. You are the worst dad ever. Stop calling me. Stop calling me. She was already running. Little sigh and wished for his book. It was gone. In its place was a piece of wood. Nero. Her maniacal giggle echoed throughout the garden as she fled. Willow stood up and chased after her. Somewhere, Faith was very busy lining up problems, and Camilla had just walked into one. That's it. Yeah, done. Do we continue? Okay, I have to ask you guys to like just pause for a minute because I need to get some water. I need to. It's a good fic. I read this fic before. It's a good fic. By the way. I like it. I never really do like the isekai stuff personally, but this is actually pretty fun. But I do have to like pause for like 2 minutes because I have to get some water. BRB. I have to leave. I'm going to go eat.
Well, thanks for reading.
Yeah, thanks. I guess then we can end it with artificial freedom. Iron Hand, if you're willing to.
If you finished your pizza,
Pizza list.
your pizza list.
No.
Actually, that's not true. I have 2 more pieces, but I should not eat them right now.
I see.
Because 4 pieces for breakfast is a lot. Okay. So, short one today. Originally, chapters 16 and 17 were going to be the same chapter. And then I was like, nah, it's going to be too big. So I split it in half. Okay. Yeah, so where we were was the battle was finishing up. The plot had been twisted. The Oni had been secretly working against their higher class superiors, gotten the Foxfires to do the dirty work essentially. But the dirty work isn't over yet. It's actually just starting. I'm gonna unplug my door.
You must protect your house from the violence you're about to read out loud.
It's true. My roommates will be like, "What the freak?" Just kidding. It's not that crazy. Okay. The direction of the battle may have already been decided when he was betrayed, but the Tiger Chief didn't give up. Defensive positions! Get back inside! Sagamura shouted, his bodyguards closing ranks, one raising a black shield and the other readying a shotgun. Samantha only had to ask, and the doors were sealed open. There was the barest pause as the foxfires approached, each of them preparing to engage in their own way. One for each of us, yeah? I called dibs on the boss. Fillion's grin was sharp. Sounds good to me, Camilla replied, reloading her revolver with rapid mechanical speed. Go for it, kid. Coco cracked her neck, thermal energy building in her augmented arms again. And as one unit they attacked. First, Coco launched herself at the shielded man, a single heavy punch at the edge of the shield enough to create an opening for her other fist, flames splashing across the man's armor as her strike audibly shattered the plating. Camilla fired 3 shots in quick succession, the first finding one of the shield user's augmented eyes, sending him stumbling even farther back, the other 2 striking the other bodyguard off balance. Then, in a burst of speed, she closed the gap to the second man, kicking once to disarm him and a second time to stagger him, metal legs flashing in the harsh spotlight. Metal was alerted by a cyber deck, the interface showing him that Sakamura, tech visor flashing, was forming a quick hack queue to lash out at the Foxfires. He shook his head. Not today. With Samantha aiding him, Vettel wove walls of protective code around each of his companions, the layers of ice deflecting the damaging hacks. Sakamura barely had time to register the defense and send him an incensed glare before another form quickly grabbed his attention. The way successfully cleared before her, Fillion leapt forward, iridescent blade flashing. Sakamura barely had time to raise a defense, and they began to trade blows, the Tiger leader having to use both augmented hands to defend against the weight of Fillion's heavy slashes, sparks flashing between them with every strike. Meanwhile, Coco was absolutely dismantling the shield guard's defense. The sheer speed and power of her boxing style blows too much for the heavily armored man to keep up with. She went wide and close, higher than lower, each fist finding a weakness or disabling every attempt at offense he could manage. She drew herself back for a moment as the misshapen shield fell to the ground, orange purple eyes wide with focus. Then, after blowing a strand of loose hair from her face, unleashed a devastating 1-2 of metal shattering blows to the man's helmeted head. The guard fell, and only a few feet away, his companion wasn't faring much better. Disarmed of his gun, the second bodyguard had sprouted a pair of long knives from his wrists and was trying his best to hit Camilla. The first flame was simply too experienced, however, and dodged every blow with precision, her fluttering and flapping in sync with every failed strike. This is what passes for elite tigers these days. She clicked her tongue in displeasure, locking her pistol into a spin for no obvious reason other than showmanship, and darted past the man's next strike, the spinning stopping just as the muzzle slammed to the guard's chin. She pulled the trigger, a heavy bullet snapping his head back, and he held to the ground. Behind them, Fillion was disappointed. Huh, do I not even need it for you? She asked, eyebrows rising as she matched the golden blade blow for blow. In reply, Sakamura, now doubly foiled and alone, gave a shrieking war cry and triggered some kind of overclock in his cybernetics that sent lines of blue streaking through his augments, his sword shining with energy. Alarms went off in Vettel's mind. He'd seen something like this before. Fillion, watch out! In reply, Fillion only laughed, baring sharp teeth. Hey, that's the way! I can do that too! And before anyone could voice further warning, she activated her Send Devastin again, a surge of energy reverberating through her frame, as though it took all her effort to remain still. She raised the long blade above her head in a ready stance and took the Tiger Chief's assault head on. Whatever the augment strengthened, whatever speed Sakamura had been granted, it still wasn't enough to match his Fillion met every strike with micrometer precision. As every movement gained speed, Vettel found himself seeing only flashes of the girl's actual movement, like individual frames of hyperreal animation, as his eyes struggled to keep up, as if he was catching glimpses of a rapid and bladed world. When Fillion slowed again, a thin line of blood was streaming from her nose as she took heaving breaths. Behind her, Camera stood unmoving for a moment, maintaining the illusion of life for a moment more. First his sword, then his hands, all fell to pieces, blood and sparks flying from the empty stumps, and with a look of blank horror in his eyes, Sakamura's head was next, falling from his neck into the blood-streaked concrete before his body followed it. Ha! Not bad, Helene gasped, as if the decapitated corpse could still converse, seemingly unaware of the internal damage she'd taken. She'd raised her purple adachi and her eyes widened, finding newly made chips in the gleaming blade. Oh, come on, I don't have the eddies to fix this right now. And her Coco straightened from her combat stance, took a step over to Fillion and smacked her lightly on the head, eyes narrowing. Hey, we can fix that sword, but not your dumbass brain. What did we tell you? His eyes widened in dismay. Then she reached up and swiped the blood from her nose to the sleeve. Oh, come on, he was pulling something crazy out, wasn't he? We were right behind you, Camilla said, bumping into Fillion, fixing her with a stern look. Don't mess yourself up any more than you have to, you little psycho. Then, breaking their scolding, a single set of heavy metal hands began to clap, and turned to see Ibaraki approaching them, lightning still flaring around his right shoulder. Excellent work. Maybe not the smoothest operation in the world, but ops are always more difficult when you can't communicate with your cooperators. The demon visage did little for his expressiveness, but Vettel could hear the smile in his words. Oh, it's that guy again, Samantha stated, on guard, and Vettel straightened. All right, Yorosane, what's going on here? Camilla stepped up beside him, spinning her revolver showily. As much as we appreciate the, what do you call this, a peace offering, you owe us a lot of answers. In time, Foxfires. But first, Iraqi pulled a phone from his pockets from the pockets of his baggy pants, styled something, and tossed it to Vettel. He caught it on reflex, almost dropping it because two of his fingers weren't responding, and looked at the screen. It glowed with the number and contact name in Japanese, Lady Foxfire, already ringing. And he picked up, and Vettel's eyes widened, quickly bringing it to his ear. Well, look who it is. What is it, Neuro-sama? Her voice was exactly as Vettel would have expected, confident but wary. It might have been his imagination, but he felt like he could also hear hints of worry there as well. After comms had gone down, they'd had no chance to reach back out to her or Ellie. Hey, Annie, it's me. Vettel, why do you have... She sucked in a breath. Everyone okay? Yeah, we're fine, he started, shaking his head in disbelief, and looked at Ibaraki questioningly. He noted Samantha's attention shift, and he saw that Aqua and Curly had rejoined the main battlefield, both just watching. The stench of death and gunsmoke made his features twist, and he shook his head, pushing back the confusion and fatigue that had been growing all night. When in doubt, he could just tell her the situation, he supposed. Sakamura's dead, and he only helped us do it with this really contrived, double-crossed operation. All the information he gained about the Oni's connection to Arasaka and their AI program flashed into his mind, but he'd only begun figuring out how to relate that when his attention was drawn back to the Oni leader, and he let out a breath of relief and surprise. What? Ibaraki-san helped you kill Sakamura? Why? Ibaraki approached him, uncaring of the way the other Foxfires were wary, and he was less than 2 meters away, Camilla stepped in between them. But to the surprise of everyone in the clearing, the huge augmented man slowly got to his knees, facing Vettel. Foxfires. Johnson in particular. Our reasons and names may be complex, but for now, just know this. Oh, wait, Dad, how does he know your name? Phil and Camilla both stepped back in surprise as the man performed the Japanese full bow, placing his hands on the ground and lowering his head until his horns scraped the concrete. I and Alveoni need your help. Yeah. Anyway, that's. I do have more, but I'm still making sure it's perfect because the last scene has to feel real good. I'm so excited. Part one's almost over, and I have a special thing planned for when I post it, so look forward to that.
Nice, let's go.
Yeah. I felt bad because even though the fight scene had been really long before this, I hadn't really gotten a chance to actually describe anybody's fighting style. Like we'd seen a little bit before this, especially from Camilla and Fillion, but I don't know. I just felt like they deserved a little more actual spotlight because in the previous scene, Vettel was fighting Aqua the entire time. He couldn't focus on everything at once, so haha, opportunity. Of course, we'll definitely see more, but I just wanted to I don't know. I really like it when hopefully I can give readers a clear mental image of how everyone fights, kind of a thing. So that's one thing that I haven't done as well is that Fillion's sword is really big. It's 4.5 feet long, which is really long compared to a standard katana. So, and I haven't really given her a different style for wielding it because when she's using her Sandy, Vettel literally can't see her. So it's or at least can't keep up with her. So it's kind of hard for me to relate it. If I was in Fillion's POV, I'd be able to do something with that. But alas.
Right. I'm a little tired. I might head out. This is very fun. Glad.
Thanks for joining, everyone.
Yeah. Good turnout this week.
Was yes. Anyway, yeah, thank you so much. And yeah, we'll hopefully do this next week. So nothing major happens.
That is the plan.
Alright.
So
See
excited.
ya.
See you guys.